Richard, welcome to the program and thanks for joining us. And I guess the plight of the dairy farmers are still suffering from the low prices, even though there was a bit of a boost last week in the dairy auction, but the increasing costs, it's very debilitating, isn't it?
Yeah, look, there's certainly still a concern. The increasing costs are now largely driven by interest rates. It's good to see that a lot of the other costs have plateaued a bit. We're seeing fertilizer start to come back a bit, which will be encouraging a lot of farmers, because for a while it looked like there wasn't an end in sight to the escalation in costs. But now what we really need is for the official cash rate to start to go down and interest rates to follow. And I think farmers will be a lot more comfortable.
So negative cash flow, is that affecting many?
Look, it will be with Fonterra's forecast milk price at $8.30 for this season, and the the break-even milk price for this year being $9 on average. So that there'll be a lot of farmers that will be in a negative cash flow for this year.
And so what can be done about that? Just got to sort of try and battle through.
This is a time for farmers to analyse their businesses and see where there is excessive cost and what can be cut, and also just to look at their systems and say, is there a more efficient way of doing things? Essentially to make the boat go faster. And obviously, this sort of analysis, is helped with a trusted advisor like a farm advisor, and obviously getting us alongside the bank manager as well, and making sure the bank manager is taken on that journey so they understand the improvements the farm's going to make, because some of them will have a short-term cash flow effect, but often there'll be a longer-term effect, and it's good for the bank to understand that, especially if they are potentially going to be being asked to finance some negative cash flows.
Of course, the ebbs and flows of farming, and particularly dairy, I suppose, are well known. You've had a couple of really good years, I guess. Is this really for those who've been prepared for the fact that it won't last forever and things will drop away again? This is when they come into their own a bit?
Yeah, look, it's really important to remember we do often see the dairy industry as being a single season type situation, but in all reality, like I said, cyclical costs are cyclical. The same with the milk price, etc. And so realistically, when you're doing budgets and working out what's economic, it is about a 3 to 5 year cycle.
So a lot of people would be prepared that one day it's not going to be as good as it has been. In other words, we're going through a down patch now, but hopefully things will once again bounce back as they tend to through history.
Oh, look, they certainly do. Look, I've been in the dairy industry for long enough to know that one swallow doesn't make a summer, if you know what I mean. And in the same way, one low milk price isn't the end of the world. And that's why it's so important that whenever farmers are making financial decisions, whether it's share milkers signing up share milking contracts or people buying farms, etc., that they look at an average milk price and average costs or expectations of those across 3 to 5 years, rather than just focusing on one high milk price to make their financial decisions.
Does the dairy auction, the 2 weeks, last week was a positive. In fact, there's been 2 positives in a row. Does that give you, cause for optimism? Can you read much into it, in other words?
Look, after 2 quite significant drops, previously, we're looking for anything that would give us some optimism, to be honest, and certainly a couple of good auctions in a row. What was it, up 3.2% a couple of weeks ago, and then just 2.5% recently. That's fantastic, and so that will give us some confidence that the $8.30 Fonterra's forecasting will hold, and it gives us some optimism going into next season, because this season is pretty much done and dusted, but we're all also looking out for what next season's forecast is going to be, and in particular the opening advance rate as well, which will play a huge role in determining our overdraft requirements, etc.
And Fonterra has helped a little by lifting the advance?
Yeah, this was a little bit interesting. When they dropped the forecast milk price for this season by 20 cents, they actually brought forward or increased the advance rate at the same time. So we all got paid a bit more a bit earlier, which was quite cool. So that obviously dropped everyone's overdrafts, so they were paying a little bit less interest, etc., which is really good. It's still, we've still got to be very aware of that was just a shifting around of money, as opposed to being given extra money or anything like that. And like I said, eyes are really going to be on next season's advance rate, because the 20 cents, or I think it was 10 cents actually, that that got moved around is still going to come out of next year's or the retros for the next year.
And of course, God, it's hard to believe, isn't it, that we're just over 3 weeks away from the moving day.
Yeah, look, I think as I get older, the years move faster, to be honest. So yeah, that's coming up again. Look, it's always a pretty stressful time for anyone moving, getting everything packed up and ready to go, whether it's farm staff just getting the house and everything sorted, or whether it's share milkers or farm owners who are actually moving farms, having to get all of their machinery coordinated and their stock, etc., all ready to move essentially on the same day or a couple of days either side. So, look, certainly, if everyone on the roads can be very patient at that time, that would be fantastic. And obviously, just a reminder to all the farmers who are moving livestock, just to remember their NATE requirements. It's really important that everything is traced back from a biosecurity point of view in case we have any other incursions. And obviously, MPI are reasonably inclined to find people that don't. So, just remember to do that with all the other things you're having to remember to do.